Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Playing Devil's Advocate. I am your host, Miss KiKi, the consummate provocateur, and for the next 120 minutes, we are going to edutain you. What that means is for the next 2 hours, you're going to be educated and entertained. I can't say what the emphasis is going to be on, the entertainment or the education, but either way, you're going to have a funky good time tonight. But before I can do any of that, I need to take care of a little bit of the light housekeeping, and that's by letting you know that we are here each and every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Central, and 10 p.m. to you guys on the East Coast. And if you happen to miss the live broadcast, don't worry. You can always come right back here and watch any of our archive shows, right? So that's simple. That's easy. We are a fully interactive show, so you can always comment in our interactive chat room. You could post to our Facebook wall at facebook.com/playingdevilsadvocate or send us a tweet at PDA_Miss KiKi. That's PDA_MSKIKI. If you want to know more about me, our co-hosts, any of our guests, or our resident experts, you can always go to KiKiRichardson.com. You can find out everything that you want to find out about them. You can purchase PDA merchandise or Key Square merchandise. You can listen to any of our archive shows that are just audio before we went, so you guys could see us on YouTube. And while you're there purchasing things, you can get a copy of my book, The Other Woman Code of Conduct, What Every Other Woman Should Know, and Men Too. Trust me, it is well worth the chops. It's not, don't judge the book by its cover. And I have a second edition coming to that soon, and also my newest book. So you always want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on, and you can do that at KiKiRichardson.com at any time. You can find us on social media, every last one of them, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. We're there. KiKi Richardson or KiKi_Richardson, one of the two. Well, I'm KiKi_ on Twitter. But everybody else is on there as well. Rob Carter IV and Sporty Spunky Angel. Speaking of which, let me bring my partners in crime that's going to be riding shotgun with me tonight for tonight's show on with me right now. First up, ladies first. She hails from my hometown, the Windy City. I've called her a fallen angel for many reasons. One of which would be because she coined the phrase "lube is for amateurs." So if you don't know how she fell from grace, that should give you an indication. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Miss Sporty, Spunky, Angel. What's up, girl?
Hey, girl. How you doing?
Apparently not as good as you are.
What? Oh my goodness.
First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I put on a little eyeliner for y'all today, and I put on some lip gloss. I didn't even polish my nails because I broke a couple. This one right here, she went way out, way out. That's where the fun is, way out. Did I just date myself with the Flintstones? Okay, whatever, don't judge me. But this one right here, look at this one right here, right here. Y'all see her, y'all? Zoom in on that. She got her eyebrows done. She got her little going, and she got a lip gloss. See, she half doing it because she got her hair pulled up. Earlier, she had her hair down. She was in full glam. And I said something about my glass because I'm supposed to have some PDA chalice, a PDA key square chalice made. So I'm putting you out there right now. I ain't gonna say your name this time because you know who you are that's supposed to be making my glass. I got to drink out of a bottle. And I said to Sporty, look at this. Look what I've been reduced to. Drinking out of a bottle. And Sporty picks up her glass and your cup. What you do? See that, y'all? She got her nails all pretty. Look at her nails. Look at her ring. And then look at her. Look at that bracelet. Show that bracelet, girl. Yes, honey. Pink and green. That's my ace right there. She's another ace. That is some piece.
Yeah.
Got for her birthday. Who gave that to you?
My best friend KiKi. My ace, my soror, she gave this to me. I love her so much. Oh my God. Yeah.
All right. I should have on mine since I got on green. I might have to turn my camera off and put it on.
Green.
I don't know. Anyway, well, I don't know what happened to Rob. He seemed to have disappeared in all of the madness. I guess all your beautification, he had to go get himself together. Since you had your makeover.
Ready.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
Maybe the producer went and fixed him up.
Ooh, how do rumors get started? Anyway.
No. Don't come for me if I don't sing for you. Don't do it.
You made her open up her mic within the first 10 minutes of the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that means it is time for us to get down to the nitty-gritty because apparently we are off to the races. Tonight's show is Behind the Isms. And a lot of people was like, isms? What are you talking about, KiKi? What's an ism, right? And so, you know, there are a bunch of them. Ageism, sexism, racism, socialism, there's a whole bunch of isms out there, and today we're going to talk about some of them. We're going to talk about how they can be harmful, who or what they affect, and more importantly, what the heck is behind the isms, right? And so you know more than anything how I am about words, right?
Yes.
You know, I always have to know what they mean, and I always go look stuff up, right? So I looked it up, and let me give you a little history lesson on isms, right?
Uh-oh, come on now.
In the mid-19th century in the United States, the phrase ism was used as a collective term to lump, well, it was a derogatory term, actually, that was used to lump together the radical movements, right? Abolitionism, feminism, prohibitionism, pacifism, socialism, things like that, right? So anything that was non-mainstream by the standard, you know, even in terms of like spiritual things, transcendentalism and spiritualism and stuff like that, they often use the ism afterwards. And then I looked up the word ism, like the term. I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Merriam-Webster's dictionary actually made ism the word of the year like a couple years back. And it's defined as a distinctive doctrine, theory, system, or practice. Okay?
Interesting.
So if you think about it, a distinctive doctrine, theory, system, or practice is something that you practice. Buddhism, a theory, you know what I mean? Whatever, all of these different things, a system, right? And we're going to talk about some of these systems, which is actually one of the, you know, some of the things that I wanted to talk about. I don't really know what other people's thoughts are about this, but I feel very strongly about this one here. And for probably not the reasons that most people would think. I feel very strongly about this ism. Feminism.
Okay. Please elaborate on that.
Please elaborate on why.
Yes, please, please.
Well, before I elaborate on why I want to talk about feminism, I'm going to welcome to the show our resident testosterone, the Rob Carter. He is an author, entrepreneur, and he is about to turn lives around. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Mr. Rob, the Rob Carter.
Listen, don't make it hard on yourself. Just however you want to announce me, it's good. I want to apologize for the technical difficulty. I turned around in vain and the screen was black. I was like, what the hell?
Oh.
So, anyway.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. We literally, Sporty started rumors. We was roasting Sporty about her eyelashes and her nails and her jewelry and her makeup and stuff. And so you coming in just when I got ready to start my thing about feminism. So you didn't miss it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to start out with. And you know, feminism was a movement that started in the 20th century, and it was more of a political stance that held the theory that the rights of women were equal to the rights of men. And sometimes, you know, I feel like the feminist movement has gone too flipping far, right? Because you have some feminists who are out there like, you know, anything you can do, I can do better, and I'm equal to men, and blah, 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 blah. That's not what the feminist movement was about. Feminism was not about being equal to men. We were about having equal rights as men, you know, in terms of equal work for equal pay, you know, equal pay for equal work, you know, having the opportunities that men have, things of that nature. But not for us to be equal to you guys. So I want to say this to all of you feminists and you people who are part of the feminism movement and all that other stuff. As a woman, kiss my ass, because you're making it harder for the rest of us. I'm not equal to a man. We're different. They serve different purposes from us. I don't want to be a man. I don't want to do what men do. I ain't trying to take out the trash. I ain't trying to change my tire. And I know these are all sexist things that we can talk about sexism later. But again, I think that, in my opinion, and y'all can elaborate on it and tell me your thoughts, in my opinion, around the 70s, mid-70s, early 80s, the feminist movement took a nasty turn. And that nasty turn has impacted our family structure in a way that I don't know if we can come back from. I don't know if it irreparably damaged our familial structure because women are not doing those things. Women, you know, mothers are supposed to be the first teachers in the community, the women, you know what I mean? We're the first teachers of the community, and we're not even there anymore.
You know, one of the things I think that we've gotten away from is when all of that started, and then around that time frame, I would say around the 70s or 80s, people were so wrapped up in equal rights for women and women's lib and feminism, and they forgot about the part where, you know, we are mothers, you know, we are nurturers, we are the people who are at home, and it's not a bad thing if we are at home taking care of our children or taking care of the house or being that support system to our husbands that are, you know, taking care of the family. You know, it wasn't about the family structure that was out of order. It was about, you know, if I can hit the hammer, he can hit the hammer. If he gets $5 for hitting the hammer, I want $5 for hitting the hammer. You know, it shouldn't be about anything other than that.
Right.
You know, equal rights, equal pay. I understand that. And I think it got away from it. It spilled over into
other shit.
Other stuff that had nothing to do with feminism, and it got lumped into feminism.
Yeah.
All this independent woman and I am woman and all of that shit. It really, that's where it it went down the rabbit hole, as we normally say
So
around.
you agree with me, Rob? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree. It took a turn, and I don't know if it was in the '70s as much as the mid '80s toward the early '90s, from my vantage point. Because in the '70s there was still a different movement, and I think it was more about rights. Even for blacks, it was more about rights and equal treatment in the '70s, '60s, and '70s. That was a carryover. I think somewhere in the mid '80s, in the '90s, things started to get a little different because women were finding themselves getting opportunities and being single heads of households. So I think that as their responsibility levels started to change, so did this movement a little bit. You know what I mean? There became, I mean, I'm not saying one is a result of the other. I'm just saying the facts that in my mind, from listening to you, the facts that kind of led some of these things astray. Because and that's why I want to go back to that the late '70s, early to mid '80s. I mean, women still were women at that point, even as depicted on TV shows. They were still, from a sexist standpoint, they were still viewed as women. You know what I mean? Not so much as equal.
I get what you're saying, but the reason why I said the mid '70s was because you have the carryover from the Vietnam War, right? And so you have, as you mentioned, the layover of women now having on more responsibility of being, or I should say, being single parents. Due to that whole thing, and that's why I was saying it started there. Was it at its, it was in its infancy of going left? Is basically what I mean when I was talking about.
I think they may have been the root, but they still had the mindset of the woman. They wanted their husband to come back from the war. They were still, from a sexist standpoint, fitting into that stereotype or that mindset. You know what I'm saying? It was, as a byproduct of that, it was their children that would talk.
I specifically remember this one commercial, and it sticks with me.
Okay.
And the jingle, I'm a jingle person. It sticks in my head. I can bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan, and never ever let you forget you a man, 'cause I'm a woman. Angelique, that
yes,
shit. Yes. That's what I'm saying, and that was in the mid '70s. You know what I'm saying? When that commercial was at its height, and it was showing all these commercials and these women doing all these other things, and then and then they started the resurgence of, what was that girl's name? The one what's the one? Rosie, is that her name?
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Her. I'm talking about the one with the scarf on. That was the reemergence of her. Yeah. The reemergence of that imagery, because that started, much, decades earlier, but that was the reemergence of that imagery, and women were starting now to do more than they were. Do I think their mentality was not in the home? No, I don't think it was. I think in the '70s, it was more out of survival that it had to start being outside of the home, thus us being latch.
And then, one thing that is going on where you didn't see it so blatantly like you do now, where they're not always, it wasn't just always about the women and what it is they were doing. You had other things that were mixed in along with it. So now it seems to be more and more people became, I'm this independent woman and I don't need a man to do this, and if I can do this at work, then I can be this at home. I don't need a man to do this. I don't need a man to do that. And so it just gets to the point where they no longer feel like, it's like they're shutting him out, instead of, now they don't want to be equal to him. They want him to be non-existent. And that's where I have the problem with it.
But that's
make him non-existent.
Well, that's what it comes to. It's come to that because, and I don't think that's with every relationship. I think that's come to that because there are women that are doing better than their male counterparts, and they're saying, "Well, look, I don't need you. I ain't trying to be, going backwards with you, or I can't, so to some degree that birthed again out of necessity, but now women are taking a more, I guess, more a stance. They're taking a different stance. They're saying, hey, not only do I have the same rights as you, but I'm in a better spot without you. Maybe I could just, go down to the adult store or hook me up. Maybe you hook me up on a date, but you can't really do nothing for me. You know what I mean? So,
well, do you think that there's a, how sometimes where you have people who need a certain way of being, or who have a certain way of being, and then there are people who take it to the extreme. So, you're saying, it warrants, some of that behavior is warranted because of the lifestyle that they lead. But then you have people who have no reason whatsoever to act like that, and then to go overboard with pushing it, way past the limit and going someplace it really doesn't have to go.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I would think that that's probably the minority, but there are people that and they want to talk up a good game. Yeah, I don't need a man. I could do this, and she can barely freaking turn on the lights. She got candles and shit, keep her shit warm. I mean, that's just immaturity right there. I mean, I ain't gonna call it being stupid or naive or ignorant or whatever, because I mean all that shit I just said, but I'm not gonna call it that. I'm just gonna say that that's being naive or something.
And it's immature.
But maturity, it's immature. That's what's being immature, because there's just there's more of what you want people to think of you than you grasping a hold of reality, trying to do your thing. Mm-hmm. I could be contributing to some of that with my girls. I mean, I've got 5 daughters, and statistically, half of them aren't gonna have husbands if we go with statistics. You see what I'm saying? Right. So with that said, I have to train them to be independent. I have to prepare them for a life without a man if that's where they end up. So that being the case, that pushes that mentality a little bit as well. I mean, we try to balance them. I mean, I'm here so they don't have this adversarial relationship with a man. It's more, okay, I could see what's up with my dad. I had that relationship, so they don't have those issues. But at the same time, they'll be self-sufficient. So I could see them in that same scenario. Hey, well, you ain't bringing shit to the table. So, I mean,
it's like they could do either or.
That don't work for me. But I do see them still understanding the role of the woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't take that away, but I can definitely be contributing to that independence. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's a fine line. It is a fine line.
But it makes sense. It makes good sense. Welcome back, KiKi.
Hey. Can you see me? I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
That's all right. So that'll lead us into mine.
Oh, what do you got?
You ready to move on, or you got something else to say about your feminism? I don't know if you were keeping up with us.
I didn't hear shit y'all said.
Okay. All right.
Well, in a nutshell,
so we
kind of wrapped it up. He just said, we discovered that on some level, the way women are today, it's warranted that they're independent in home and out in the world because they are taking care of things on their own. Okay. And then there are those that are pushing that envelope and they don't have to just to be making noise. And it's about their maturity and a few other things that he gave them as colorful words, but we rounded it up to being a level of maturity.
You know what? The beauty about this is that I can always go back to the archives and watch it again. So what I missed, I can always pick back up on. So go ahead, take it away, Rob.
Yeah, go for it.
So, no, I want to talk about one. It's a big one for me. It's called Stoicism. All right?
Stoicism.
Stoicism. Stoicism. Stoicism.
Okay.
And what that is that's the quality of being able to accept shit as it happens without complaining, without bitching and whining. Stoicism. Ooh. We need more stoicism in the world. So this whole thing, like with me having the problem with the computer and you having the problem with the computer, and we just jumping right in, we some stoicistic motherfuckers. See what I'm saying? We be all on the stoicism. So that's why I brought that up. And I mean that's for you guys watching. And I mean, most of the stuff I brought up is kind of personal, so you'll hear it, you'll see me in it. You know what I'm saying? But try to adopt some of that. Look it up. Stoicism. I mean, shit is what it is, you know, and we need way more people adapting to the world or to shit that happens as it is. So I'm an advocate. I think everybody needs to be a stoicist, and I want somebody to tell me different. If you don't think you should, if you think you should be able to get some whiny, bitchy compensation, let me know, because I don't agree.
You know, I hear you on the stoicism. It kind of reminds me of a conversation I was having with somebody about there's some people you want to be around in a crisis and some people that you don't want to be around, because it's some people who will fuck around and get you killed because they freak out, you know. And then there's some people that's just steady, you know. And I was telling a story about how the day before my father's funeral and I got into that car accident, and I was so cool. I mean, we were about to go over the overpass onto 290. Mm-hmm. But I was so calm. Everybody in the car was like, we going down. And I was just like, I'm not. All I could think in my head is I'm not going out like this. And I kept us calm. Of course, we're here. Nobody was injured. But, you know, what my sister said to me, you know what, if I ever get in another accident, God forbid, can I just please be in the car with you? Because you don't freak out. Now, afterwards, I was a damn train wreck. But in that moment, I was calm as hell. I was steady as a rock. But it does, you know, it's one of those things that when you don't practice you don't practice stoicism, right? Or you don't believe in that whole ideology, you find yourself in more quagmires than most of us, because you're hyper emotional, right? Mm-hmm. And when you're responding or reacting, as I say, out of emotion, then that typically causes a problem for you ultimately in that path and to reach a resolution. If you don't react, because reactionary is always a negative thing. You want to act. That's it. You want to act. You don't let the circumstance dictate your positioning. So right. You shouldn't be reacting. You should just be acting.
You know, and it's so funny that he brought that up today, because you know how I always say life hands us stuff when we have show topics. So, you know, earlier today when I called you and you know, I was talking to you, what had happened maybe 20 minutes prior to our phone conversation that I didn't share with you was I was driving on 290, getting ready to, you know, merge into traffic with everyone else, and there was a truck, and the truck was merging into traffic, and he had debris flying out of his truck. So cars began to swerve, and this big brick came toward the car. It hit the car, but I swerved and missed that one. The next big brick came and literally covered the windshield, and all I could do was just brace myself because it was hitting the car, you know. So I said, okay. So I kind of like moved my head, because I'm like, well, if it's going to come through, let me just move my head so it'll go that way or whatever. But, you know, I'm moving and swerving around, so we are watching cars. This brick hits the windshield of the car. Mm-hmm. But unbeknownst to me, it did not crack the windshield. It did not scratch the car. Not even the cement from the brick was on the car. And I'm touching the car out the window like, yeah. Okay.
But if you had panicked, you'd be dead, and about 5 other people would be dead.
Oh, yeah.
You would cause traffic to have shut down. And that's what happens. So, you know, Rob, that's a good one. That's a good one. Stoicism. You know, again, the interesting thing is the term isms originally were derogatory terms. And so sometimes we can turn positive things into negative things. And speaking of another ism that I live by personally, is pragmatism. I'm a pragmatist, right? You know, for people who don't know, you know, what pragmatism is all about, it's a philosophical term, so to speak, but it's the approach that you use when you assess the truth and the meaning of the situation, you know, based on all things, and then you make decisions based on practical applications of theories, thoughts, and your belief system, right? So for me, I'm like I talked about not being reactionary. I am not reactionary. You do something to me, 9 times out of 10, I recoil because I'm processing to see how I'm going to act in the situation, or what if it doesn't make sense to me. You know, I'm all about shit making sense. If it don't make sense to me, I got a problem with it. And we'll talk about some of the things that I have problems with that don't make sense, that are isms, a little bit later. But Shan said in the chat room that she lived by assholism. You originated.
Indeed, she does.
Originated. She said, I believe in controlism. No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I'm a pragmatist. Things have to make sense. They have to go in a, it makes sense to me. It's like, bloop, 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 bloop. I don't subscribe to the ideology of idealism.
Yeah, no.
Which gets a lot of people twisted. You know, they watch these movies, they get caught all up in the media hype, they drink the Kool-Aid, they buy into the propaganda, and they live in this idealistic mindset thinking that the world is all, supposed to happen a certain way, and then they're like, oh, woe is me, I want to slit my wrist and jump off a building when it doesn't happen that way. And so,
idealism is cool for the movies, but it's a fantasy. So, I mean, it's cool for entertainment. It's cool to look at a picture that maybe you want to aspire along the way, something to shoot at, but it is not how you live day to day. You can't afford to be idealistic. You just can't, because nothing is going to work out the way you want it to. Mm-hmm. Nothing, not a one thing. I will guarantee you. The only thing that might work the way, and it probably won't, but it might work the way you want it, is you get into bed and you wake up when you want it to the next morning. Otherwise, that's it. But half the time that shit don't happen. Your alarm go off before you want it to. You roll over. You got to pee in the middle of the night. You can't even go to sleep and wake up the way you planned. So nothing is gonna work. Just trust me there. You can't.
Yeah, idealism and non-pragmatists. Those two people combined stick in my craw.
Yeah. Oh, and then throw some non-stoicism because they gonna be complaining too. So you gotta
sprinkle it.
Yeah.
I'm sprinkling some stoicism.
So all of those, that'll be a good bunch.
Man, I tell you, I can't deal with some of them. I mean, it's just. Ooh, geez, they get on my nerves with all their, and I'm all for, having plans and ideas and, wanting things to happen a certain way. And, here's another one, optimism. I'm an optimist at heart. I do believe that things ultimately will work out for the better. Perfect example. I was having another conversation with someone, and we were talking about one of my exes. And we would have a disagreement maybe, or maybe something didn't work out the way that I wanted, and most people would be disappointed in the situation. But my response was always, "It's cool." It used to drive him fucking nuts that I was just like, "It's cool," because he's like, "How the fuck is everything cool? Like, what the fuck?" And I'm like, "It's cool because at the end of the day, I'm not about to go and make a date with a hot tub, straight raisin, a bottle of Jack Daniels. I'm not going to kill myself over it. So ultimately, it's going to work out." You know what I mean? So I believe that. I mean, there's no other way. I always, what do I used to say to you, Sporty? This is not how it's supposed to be. It's another way. It's got to be another way.
Another way.
So
here's the thing. In the end, it's all going to work out okay. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end. Just keep pushing.
Oh,
that's the,
you know what? That's a good one, Rob. Right there with that.
If it's not okay, then it's not the end.
That's right. That's a good one.
Just keep pushing. Just keep pushing.
Absolutely.
You can have that.
For those of you guys who just may be joining us, this is Playing Devil's Advocate. I am your host, Miss KiKi, the consummate provocateur, and today we're talking about behind the isms. And not only are we giving isms, we're giving some background on what they mean and giving personal examples of how they affect us personally, societally, and in a whole bunch of ways. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, We are fully interactive. We have the chat room open. You're welcome to put your comments in there. We'll get your comments on air. You can post our Facebook wall at facebook.com/playing devil's advocate, or you can send us a tweet at PDA_Miss Kiki, and we will get your tweets on air at some point. We will, I promise. With that said, Sporty.
You want one of mine?
Yes, I do.
How about hedonism?
That was one of mine. You know I'm a sexpert. That was mine.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'll let you go
like
back.
the Garden of Eden?
No,
like
hedonism, like the resort in Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there's hedonism 2 and then there's hedonism 3. Yes, there is a difference.
Go ahead.
But hedonism is, the belief that pleasure is the highest form of, of everything. So you just, hedonism is just a way of life. And like I was saying, you can live uninhibited and free. And I know she's finna text me, look at the camera, so I'm looking at the camera. So, you just kind of enjoy who you are, and you're comfortable in your own skin and in your own thoughts and your own activities of what you like to do, see, be, and feel. So if pleasure is your thing, and that's why my halo is dim. I'm a firm believer in
that halo. Been out of commission for a long time. That shit been in hock for a minute.
Get it up.
But I believe that I have some hedonistic tendencies, and not in the distorted way in which society has made it, but with pleasure being the highest form of good in life, because you have to think about love, right? Love is about pleasure. So if you put those two, kind of together, and you're thinking about love is the highest. It is actually the highest, and that's a pleasurable feeling. If you notice, when people are in love, they are affected by the chemicals in their body, dopamine and all of these other things, which give them a high. So, that's pleasurable. That's pleasureful. And sex, it's pleasure. You get to release oxytocin and vasopressin and dopamines and all of, your neurotransmitters are working, and all your synapses are firing. Feel good. Feel good.
Yeah, feel good.
Feel good.
Yeah.
So life should be about pleasure. It should not be about hardship. It should not be about negativity. It should not be. If it does not bring you pleasure, then it should not be in your space.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying in terms of having hedonistic tendencies. Go ahead.
So I guess what we need to clear up though is the extremes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it can't just be about pleasure. You can't just be sitting around and say, I'm just gonna be here fucking all day, or being pleasureful. Let me clean that up. Yeah, I ain't just gonna be here.
Enough for me.
And yeah. But yeah, so I ain't just gonna be here all day, putting it down and having it done and getting massages and 2 and 3 different stimulated places at once. That kind of shit. You can't just do that every day, all day. You know what I'm saying? So what you need to do is for me, I could see that. Yeah, that's what I said. All right, so just imagine if you were getting. See, she was trying to see where I was going with that, but. Bottom line is,
I'll just talk amongst yourselves in the chat room. That's all.
You throw these things out as milestone rewards, and this is kind of how I do it, because you can get caught up, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with pleasure, and you can extend these periods of time. The more successful you get, though, the better you make your situation. But from my vantage point, I think that everything is earned. You know what I'm saying? You don't just wake up and say, I'm going to live a life of pleasure. So don't get it twisted. You got to pay the piper. Everything costs.
Well,
so
I wasn't saying that. My point was
I just want to get it out there because people think, well, I'm one of them, and then they leave here tomorrow. That's all they want to do is pleasure. Everything I do should seek pleasure.
Well, it should. Everything, your thoughts, your actions, and your behaviors should all line up toward things that bring you pleasure.
No, I agree with that.
Now,
I agree with that.
getting
But
to
all
that
the activity down the way, all the activity to
getting
get
to
there
that
ain't going to be pleasureful.
Right. But here's the thing, though. Anything in its extreme is not good for you.
Right.
You cannot go extreme too much, and you cannot go extreme depriving in English, depriving yourself of it.
No,
Either extreme is bad. You have to find balance in the middle. But the ultimate goal is to be happy and to have pleasure. You know, that's why people talked about transcendentalism.
You can do this. I believe in you.
Pass. I'm a pass.
Yeah, you can say that one. Pass on that one.
I ain't had enough to drink, which I know I don't do. But anyway,
we ain't transcending them. We ain't transcending.
That's why people have such a problem with that, because everything that to reach to that level of transcendence. Damn, that's it. Transcendence, where it's like it's a euphoric state where a lot of people never reach, because it's that state of being that is not pretty much earthly. Your thoughts are no longer that here on the earth, earthly. So with that being said, if you're living your life, not a life of pleasure, but if you're living your life to have a pleasureful life, then that is different. You have to remember, you do still need to have balance. But I'm not gonna let it go by that Rob did say you can't sit around all day and be pleasured in 3 different places. I didn't
no, because
wait, let me finish. I just needed some clarity on this. Were you talking about 3 different places, meaning geographically in your house, in the world, or in the city, or whatever, your neighborhood, or geographically on your body?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. That's what I thought you meant. Either way.
Needed some clarity. There we go again with that balance.
Because that's pleasure to the third power. You know what I'm saying? If you're being stimulated in multiple places. So that's where you get it.
I'm all about the powers.
Yeah.
This is
so
I am Key squared after all. I'm all about
Let me just tap one more thing on there, and then we can move on to the next one. Just like you were saying, your whole life needs to be that of a pursuit of pleasure, basically a pursuit of what's important to you, what makes you happy, what makes you sound, what makes you feel complete in life, totally. And then the journey is just as good or just as fun and adventurous as the destination, because it's going where you want it to be. And like I said, when you grind, sometimes it's tough, but that just, the pleasure will be equal. You know what I'm saying? When you do that 3 times work, then you sit back and you get that 3 times pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case is, as long as you're pursuing what it is that makes you happy as an individual, then you're doing what you're supposed to do.
I love Rob.
Yeah, 3 times the pleasure. West in the chat room said, he said, Rob, when we were talking about the 3 places, you talk about he said the Holy Trinity. I'm like,
I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all how soft I am. I'm gonna tell y'all how soft I am. You know where my weaknesses are? Not my nipples at the same time as, of course, your genitals. Both nipples and that the same. That's a good one. And then my feet. If you're getting your feet massaged at the same, that shit's crazy, man. You just don't know. But I mean, it's.
You know what? That's not shocking. And the reason why that's not shocking is that if you think about pressure points on your foot,
yeah,
a lot of those places, like people will tell you that with your feet and your hands and your eyes, they're different pleasure points that reach to different points of your body. So it's not shocking to me that it would be, something that bring pleasureful for you. Pleasureful for you. What the hell is wrong with my mouth tonight? I ain't had enough pleasure. That's the problem.
So
I was going to say, maybe you need some attention there.
I need some pleasure.
Yeah,
all right, on that note,
yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
So for everybody that wants to, help Rob out, so that takes.
Yippee at the Mandalay Bay.
That takes 2 more people. because I need one on each foot, one on each nipple, and then the one that, so that's 5 people. So I need 5 of y'all to do that one, just in case anybody wants to help me out. So now,
how we get here?
I don't know how pleasure took us down this.
Because I'm sitting here in my next one. Yeah, my next.
We gotta take a drink. We gotta take a drink. I think I need a drink after you talking about your nipples.
Get a drink, and then we'll talk about egoism.
You talking about your nipples? I need a damn drink.
I need to swallow after that.
I don't need to hear nothing about his. She's talking about she needs something in her mouth. Get it straight. I don't want to hear about your damn nipples. I need a drink.
I just need to swallow after that.
I can't. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's drink of the week is being brought to you by our producer, Cousin Chan. I say it every week, I don't know how she comes up with them, but this week is no different. Ladies and gentlemen, Cousin Chan is going to introduce you to some common sense.
All right.
Hey everybody, tonight's drink of the week is called Common Sense. Tonight's drink of the week, we're going to use 2.5 ounces of white rum, 2 ounces of peach schnapps, 1 ounce of lemonade, and a splash of ginger ale. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to pour all the ingredients in a tall glass over ice, stir, and garnish with a lemon wheel. And there you have it. Common sense. All right, guys. Be safe. Enjoy. Drink responsibly. I'll see you next week.
Oh, you through? What's that? When you can't get your body, please.
Okay, first of all, she said peach schnapps, and then she also said something about some damn lemonade.
Yep. That's good.
And ginger ale. And white rum.
It's going to be good.
And she talked about some drink responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
That means don't spill one.
What about drinking is responsible? All right.
You don't spill
Rob.
it. And that's
Yeah.
alcohol abuse.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just completed our drink of the week. This is Playing Devil's Advocate. I'm your host, Miss KiKi, the consummate provocateur. We're talking about isms. Somehow, I know if you heard the last segment, you're not sure how we got where we went. I don't know, but I'm going to let Rob tell you his next ism.
Well, we got where we were going because I want to talk about egoism. And I might have been stroking mine a little bit. No. Egoism. No, look at that face. Come on now. I wasn't stroking that.
Hey, man, listen, everybody call theirs by something different. I don't know what you call yours.
Anyway. I want to talk about egoism. I mean, it's not exactly what it sounds like. It's not, it's all about me ego-wise. It's really where your self-interest is the basis of morality as far as you see it. It's the basis of how you make decisions and all based on your own self-interest. And I mean, why is that bad? I mean, I don't know. I mean, people. I mean, if you've got a conscience, it doesn't reference. Even if you look it up, it doesn't reference whether you balance that with a conscience. But if you have a conscience and you're considerate of other people, but your basis is still self-interest in mind, why is that a bad thing?
We're all egoists, though. Because if you think about it like this, even if you do something for somebody else, on some level it brings you some type of satisfaction.
That's correct.
It makes you feel good to be able to do something for someone else. So it is still self-serving in and of itself. Mm-hmm. It is in your own self-interest. So to say, that ego, most people probably would jump out there and be like, well, ego, because they think about the word ego, right? But self-interest, first of all, self-preservation is the first law of nature. So you have to think of self first, because you can't be of service to others until you have served yourself first.
Right.
This is me. This is how I think. This is my life script. But I think in terms of, how your basis of morality is measured based on that self-interest, and it makes sense. Everybody's life script is based on, it calibrates their moral compass.
Okay.
I mean, what you think, Sporty?
I mean, well, I think I think it's a fine line because, excuse me, you have, there's always the place where you feel like, no, who knows you better than you know yourself, except for those people who are not real with themselves. So you have to, it comes down to the balance again. It's like you're either going to, you have to be who you are. It's not like you can hide it unless you're going to always present your, what do we call it, your representative instead of who you are in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think there just has to be a balance there. I don't see anything wrong with egoism. I just don't.
Well, I got one.
I think you could take it too far. But
we can take anything too far, but that's the thing. Anything unchecked can be a bad thing.
Right.
I think when the decisions don't take into consideration anybody else the path, then you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? But having your own best, because it basically says that that's the ground. From a moral standpoint, your best interest is what you're dealing with. And I still think that's okay as long as there's some sense of compassion as you move forward. You're just not stepping on people, So, anyway.
But here's the thing, though. Compassion that's something that you add, that's another layer. You know what I mean? In terms of, the way you deal with other people. Because the thing about it is that you can't be compassionate. It can't be about ego, which is about self, if it's about other people. You know what I mean? Like, on its face, just on its face. But you do, if it goes unchecked, that's how we get into narcissism.
Oh, Lord.
What?
Yeah, okay. All right. No,
let's get into narcissism.
Yeah, okay, let's get into narcissism. Go ahead.
Wait,
let's
you
get
said
into
that all begrudgingly, like I was talking about you or something.
No, go ahead, come on. Let's do it. Go ahead.
I'm feeling some kind of way that you know.
Did I feel like I'm being rubbed a little wrong way? Like I'm somewhat narcissistic?
That you're so vain, you probably think this show is about you. That's what I'm thinking.
Was I supposed to follow up with about you?
Well, okay. So narcissism, guys. Narcissism is the extreme selfishness, right? With the grandiose view of your own thoughts and your place in the world, and you constantly, everything has to be about you all the time, right? It's this self-centeredness that keeps you from seeing anything other than yourself. And that's when we're talking about egoism run amok, right? That's when things can go bad real fast, when it's always about you, when you feel in some kind of way and when nobody even talking about you. Like, I put something on my Facebook and you like, inbox me, KiKi, were you talking about me? I posted something on Instagram a couple weeks ago, the warning about ending, to guys ending up in the friend zone. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And wait, I'm gonna have to read that in just a second, a message that came through. And I got so many DMs and so many messages like, yo, is that about anybody in particular, or was that? And I'm like, yo, just because I posted on Facebook or I posted on Instagram, I had a couple people ask me if it was about them. And I'm like, okay, where did you get the idea that I was talking about you?
See, now is that
hollering?
Is that, see, now I don't know if that, to me, falls in that vein. Because an insecure person would feel that versus a narcissistic person. You know what I mean? For me, I would think that, of course you were, if it was relevant, and then of course you were talking about me. I wouldn't even be asking. Of course it was me, and good. I mean, now that's out. I'll keep moving. You know what I'm saying? I think that's true. Narcissism. Look, yeah. Oh shit. Okay, good. She just posted my shit. Good. She's talking about me. They got me moving over there. Let me keep moving over here. I don't think the insecure aspect of it, the inquiry matters. I think from my vantage point, when if we're doing something, here's my thought. But then when you have a thought or you have some input, okay, yeah, that doesn't really matter here. You know what I'm saying? It's all about what I want, what I need, and how I'm getting it done. Because my way is happening. Because I know my way is the best way. Because it's happening.
Yeah.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I just see it as narcissistic people to me are what I categorize as the what's in it for me people. It's like, okay, I'll do this for some, it's like when you're talking about compassion. I'll do this for you, or I'll care if this is what my reward is going to be about it. Or if this is what I'm getting out of it, or if this is what it's about for me. It's always about what's in it for me with the narcissistic person. I'm fine with the world revolves around sporty, because it does. And I'm not being funny about when I say I think primarily about what works around me and what's important for me and what's important to me, and so that's my world.
Okay.
But I don't have a problem with that.
But when you talk about your world, that's your world. But narcissistic people think the entire world revolves around them. It's like
Right.
It's about them all the time. Nothing that they will, if the conversation is about me somehow, and I'm talking to Rob, telling him something, but then somehow he done flipped it and made it about him. It's like, I thought we was talking about me. Or if, it's got to be my way all the time, like Rob said. And narcissistic people are dangerous.
But I don't think they realize they are.
No, I don't know if they would know that they're so-called the quote-unquote narcissist, but the fact of the matter is that there are many of us who display narcissistic tendencies a lot. And
but I mean, you're saying display tendencies a lot. What I'm saying is I think that there are genuine people who are severe narcissists, for lack of a better way to put it.
And they're dangerous. A real narcissist is dangerous. Clinically, somebody who is diagnosed as a narcissist and they fit on that scale, when we go into psychological testing, someone who is narcissistic is actually very dangerous, because if it's not about them, they will go to whatever extreme that it takes to make it about them.
But all I'm saying is, I don't disagree with that. All I'm saying is, I don't think they realize that they are.
They don't care. That's the thing. They don't care. As long as the focus is on them, good, bad, or indifferent, they don't care. It's about me.
Right. Being dangerous is, being dangerous is just what it is.
It's a byproduct of it. I want this.
Okay. Who cares? Yeah, exactly. That's how I would view it if that were me. I would be like, so, yeah, who cares about that part of it, as long as what I need is happening.
I hear how you slid that in there.
If that were me.
Yeah, if I would fall into that category. So.
Right. If that were you. Right. Here's another ism.
My turn again?
Oh, you can give one. Go ahead, sure.
Well,
I have a couple that people sent in too, so go ahead.
Okay, well, this preacher's daughter wants to talk about atheism.
Okay.
So, there are those people, and someone sent that to me, actually. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll say atheism on the air. I don't have a problem with saying it. But for those that don't know, atheists are people who don't believe that there is any form of a higher power or God or gods, of that nature. They're more into the belief of the theory of evolution and scientific beliefs about the world and creation and so on and so forth. So, my problem with people and atheists is atheists are not bad people, and people need to stop making them bad people. It's their belief. And I just think that's just, I don't believe what they do, but that doesn't mean that they're horrible people. They're human beings just like we are.
Right. I think what happens is that what I find more often than not is that most people who condemn atheists are I forgot the term for them, but they're golly, I forgot the phrase for it, but they're basically religious. Oh fudge! I can't remember the word for them right now, but it's an ism
What,
too.
agnostics?
No. Agnosticism is something different. It's not that they don't believe that there is a God. They just don't. They need proof of it. You know what I mean? They don't doubt that there's something. They just don't believe it's what you say it is. You know what I mean? They need more proof. You know what I mean? It's like I need to. It's like an agnostic person is typically more of a pragmatist because they need shit to make sense. A plus B, you know what I mean, must be equal C, or 1 plus 2 should equal 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when the shit don't add up, they're like, yeah, no, I ain't with that.
That's like a moralism, though. Well, yeah,
I think the problem that people have with atheists is, or atheism, since we're dealing with ism, is people try to impose religion. I mean, rather than keeping their religion personal, and they try to impose it on other people. So when a person doesn't believe in God or a superior being or whatever, then they automatically go in this, almost judgmental mode and want to feel that the necessity to convince you that that your way is wrong or something, because it's so deep in their core. And that's intrusism, because they intruding on that person's space. Huh?
Intrusion. He just made up a word.
What?
But that's okay. But you know what? She mentioned it in terms of moralism. I find that Christians are they are into the moralistic kind of moralism, since we're talking about it, and that's when you have like this somewhat of a contempt for somebody else's belief that's different from yours, and you're judging their morality. Right. You know what I mean?
And they don't impose the same thing on, like what is it, polytheism?
That's multi-God.
Yeah, where you want more than, where you got more than one God. So they don't impose the same shit there. So I'm saying, what's the problem? It's okay to say, yeah, we got the sun god and the water god and all these, like the Greeks had, but then somebody that just doesn't want to attach to no God, you say it's one, they say it's 101, and then somebody else says, you know what, I just think we evolved, because that's what people do. So now I'm fucked up because we evolved, because I don't subscribe to some governmental body that is something else for me to attach to, so you can control me by saying God said don't do it, so then I won't do it,
But let's take about the fundamentalists, right? Fundamentalists believe in the strict principles of the fundamentals of the Bible, right? So those people are truly moralistic, and they practice moralism, in terms of it, and they have a high intolerance for anybody who does not believe and follow the fundamentals strictly, which you cannot in today's society because it's not relevant in a lot of ways, right? But it's whatever. If that's your thought, if you that for me as a thoughtful, realistic realistic person, someone who is a realist, that makes absolutely no flipping sense to me. But give me just a moment. I'm going to read some of the stuff that's going on in the chat room. They said belief in evolution / science and belief in a creator / creators are not mutually exclusive ideas. True. I no longer believe or support organized religion, but I believe in the possibility of intelligent design. Trees grow other way around. I'm sorry. Trees grow from seeds. That is all the proof I need. And someone else says, I have a problem with organized religion, too. Yeah, that's the problem, but that's a whole other conversation for another day in terms of organized religion, and maybe we should have a conversation about organized religion. So maybe somebody should write that down in our notes. But, I do think that there are some things in terms of fundamentalism, atheism, and agnosticism, and moralism, and they're all interconnected. What I think the problem may be that could be detrimental to us as a society as a whole is when we have that judgmental component. None of us are, perfect in any way, shape, or form. So to sit in judgment of someone else, and those are the ones that I find are the most judgmental, these quote-unquote religious people, are the most judgmental people in the world.
Yeah.
Holy
Like,
roller.
Here's the thing.
It's like, don't you judge me. Don't you judge me. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Speaking of something, I have one.
Uh-oh, what you got? What you got, girl?
Here's one that we've been chopping at the bit for a minute, and Rob has mentioned it. He's sprinkled it out a couple of shows, so I'm gonna bring it up. It's called colorism, right? And colorism is a form of systemic or a systematic prejudice or discrimination in which, like, people are treated differently based on the color of their skin, intra-racially, meaning lighter skinned or things of that nature, like, light-skinned people versus darker-skinned people, and
let's talk about that.
It's dangerous. If you think about, like, with white supremacy, let's just not use black people. If you think about white supremacy and the way they view people with the paler skin, the more pale they are, the better, the lighter they are, that whole thing. When we all know that light blue eyes and all that shit is that's a birth defect. It's not something, that's something from a recessive gene. That's not something that is quote unquote natural. So to think that that person or what have you, blonde hair, recessive, defective, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not the comment. So for them to think or to treat or to feel or discriminate against people in that manner is very dangerous. It's very dangerous when dark skin, white, brown skin, that whole war against each other is very, very dangerous. It's dangerous, not just to that particular culture, but as a whole, because those types of prejudices, those types of discrimination, they bolster the argument for the racist or the bigot or the others who think, of this particular race a certain way or this particular color. So it's dangerous when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and yourself is a lighter version of self as opposed to, I'll just use my mom and my mom and I, for example. We look just alike except I'm a darker version of her. Now, us walking down the street, what would it look like if somebody was to say something derogatory to me, to my mom, and she looks just like me? It's ridiculous. It's insane. You know what I mean? It's like, it's stupid. Why do we do that? Dangerous. Very dangerous.
It is dangerous, and it's dangerous to the survival of that culture, whatever it is. Unfortunately, I'm going to get something from this, but it is what it is. We as black people, we don't have a culture. You know what I'm saying? We're not African. We don't identify with the African culture. Africans don't identify with blacks as part of the African culture. So I understand we gravitated back there, and that's where we came from. But when we were brought over, we were brought over, and that created a new, like a superhero. When you morph from, you to Spider-Man, we morphed. We came from Africans to black people. That's the origin of a brand new race that's only a couple hundred years old. You know what I'm saying? And there is no culture. And we're struggling so much internally that it's all fucked up. So if we don't gravitate to each other and create a culture and tie into our past and let that be an identity of our strengths, of people that came over in bondage that, just a couple hundred years later are doing the shit that we're doing. Let's gravitate toward that. Let's not try to ignore it. Let's not let people push it under the table and hide it from us. Let's tap into that and build something, because, see, the reason other cultures don't have as many problems as we do is because they gravitate towards that country. We're all Cubans. They got light Cubans and dark Cubans and whatever. Same thing, we're all Mexicans. So they gravitate towards the culture of that country or that continent or wherever they came from, and they bond with that. So when they come to a foreign place, there's some togetherness that they deal, some unity from being from there. You know what I'm saying? Which we don't have, and that's the problem. We don't have that unity, and then we've been separated.
Well, I mean,
we've been taught to hate each other. You know what I'm saying?
We've been pit against each other in a lot of ways, and again, this conversation we definitely can have, some other time, and to kind of really, really dig deep in the root causes of where it came from, and how do we dig ourselves out of a hole we didn't dig, you know what I mean, so to speak. Right. We definitely can do that, but I think that we drank the Kool-Aid. We believed what they taught us, and it was a matter of survival to believe what they taught us, and we don't need to survive with that shit anymore.
Right. Now it's time to detox.
Yeah, give it up, turn it loose. It's not your cross to bear anymore, and it's just interesting to me how we still buy into it. And like I said, it's not just the African American or black or Negro or however you want to refer to yourself. It's not just us. You have it within the Asian community. You have it within the Hispanic, Latinos, Hispanic. I don't even know what the politically correct fucking term is anymore for Hispanic. Is it Hispanic? Is it Latino? I remember when it was Chicano. What the fuck is it? I don't know. I don't mean to be offensive. I just don't know what is the correct term anymore. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, but even in that community, there's this, color thing in terms of that as well. And what I find is that most people don't want to be closely related to us, even though they are. You know what I mean? Y'all came through the middle passage just like we did.
I had a discussion about this a couple of days ago, and I don't know that it's about us. I mean, we could say it is. We can be narcissists and say it's about us, but I think it's people coming from poverty-stricken third world countries and wanting to identify with the image of American wealth and success, because they come over here trying to be American, wanting to be American. So I know that, like back in the Philippines where my wife is from, that's all they really know is what they see on television. They don't know, they ain't been over here, so they're all trying to be light, they whiten their skin, they do all this shit, but it's not anything about not trying to be like us. It's just trying to be like them. So I think people from poverty-stricken areas and countries trying to emulate what they think is what society tells them is white is right. They emulating that.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they're trying to be like us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's all a twisted little game.
It's so fucked up, the mentality, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because it's like, how. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's why people, I want to do another one of these little messages. You just got to be true to you when it comes to religion, when it comes to just self-worth, self-knowledge, you being in touch with you. Just be true with you. And don't be imposing your views and values on folks that don't want them. I mean, if you talk and you bond with somebody and y'all good right there, then cool. Elaborate and collaborate. But if they got a different idea about what drives them, what kind of God or what kind of spirit or force, then let it be. Because as long as something's driving them, that's all that matters. So as long as something's driving you, pushing you in a direction that's good and right, then roll with that. You know what I'm saying? Just roll with that. Quit trying to be like other people and fuck with other people and Asia, I'm on the air, get off out of this room and just stop dealing with that kind of shit and keep it pushing and keep it pushing.
Okay, I got a question. If somebody said to you, you had to choose between creationism and Darwinism, which would you say that you would pick?
I'm not going first. Where's Sporty?
I don't know. So that you can't wiggle out of it.
Yes, he popped up. Go ahead, Sporty. Cause I gotta get my rationale right. Cause I've got.
Sporty, what are you talking about? You seeing people?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't see you, so you okay?
I'm here. I
Go
did
ahead.
pop back up, but all I heard
Okay,
you
did you
say
hear
was
what I
go.
said?
What
Did
did
you hear
you
what I
say?
said?
No.
If someone said to you that, if you had to choose between creationism and Darwinism, which would you choose?
Ooh. I, well, I'm gonna go with Darwinism.
Really? The preacher's daughter is going with Darwinism?
Yes, I am. Believe it or not, I did.
Why?
Because it makes sense to me.
Well, okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, they're talking about drum roll. They're not mutually exclusive ideas, chicken or the egg. Those of you guys who do not know, creationism is based on the theory that the universe was created by God, or usually the Christian God, and not out of nothingness, right? Is that all living things, or especially like human beings, were created by God in His image and things of that nature, and that life didn't evolve from other life forms. Now, Darwinism, on the other hand, has a theory of that all living things have descended from an earlier common ancestor through a process of biological evolution, and also through natural selection and survival of the fittest, basically. So that's pretty much, they're kind of, oppositional of each other, because one's saying it was created by God, one was saying no, the shit was already here and it just evolves over time.
The last time I was presented with this question was by my father.
Mm-hmm.
And, him being the pastor and all, and he said to me, what is it you believe and why do you believe it? And my initial answer was the pastor's daughter answer. And it was, well, of course, Daddy, I believe in, Christianism, I believe in that way,
Mm-hmm.
because if God created everything, He also created Darwinism. So, if He created everything, how would Darwinism exist without, the way the world was created through Christianity?
Mm-hmm.
So that was my answer then. But as I began to read other books outside of the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
explore other forms of religion and other versions of books and literature
Mm-hmm.
and science, I began to understand what Darwinism meant and what it said, and I began to, it made sense to me. And because it made sense to me, my legal mind said it didn't prove to me beyond a reasonable doubt that Christianity was the only way. So
Right.
that's
Right.
why
Right.
I picked Darwinism.
All right. So here's my take. And the reason I was trying to get my thoughts, and it's funny that you gave the example that you gave, because that's kind of where I'm tied. Because, and when I say example, the example you said when you said that you told your dad that if God made everything, then He made Darwinism. Okay, so because I do believe in evolution for sure. I mean, I believe that. I mean, that's how living shit works, and it changes, and things become extinct, and things change, and amphibious life, and blah blah blah, and we are so close to the apes and monkeys that it's unreal. You know what I'm saying? So there's some clear indications that it could be. That could be a way. I mean, just the similarities in mammals in general and how we operate. So it would be, and then it's almost puzzling why God would just say, okay, well, let me just make this thing. I mean, the whole mixture it's just questions on how and why, and if He made man, why are there so many different versions of us? You know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't we just all be the same? If we all came from Adam and Eve, how come we got all these damn different folks and people? You know what I'm saying? I get it. Yeah, they went off and migrated.
Wouldn't that make us inbred?
Yeah, everybody would be. Everybody would be. And then some people, and even in the Bible, when Cain and Abel, then somebody go off somewhere and came back with a wife. Where the fuck she come from? He came back with a wife. Where the fuck was she at in the whole situation? So all I'm saying, there's some questions, it's loopholes. See,
I got a whole bunch of questions about the Bible. Don't even get me started.
So I get it. I get it when we get to that, because I think that a lot of that scripture is governing. I'm telling you, it's governing, and it's to control folks because God said it. But
it is. It is.
But be that. But with that said, be that as it may, with that said, I do believe though there is an energy, there is something else, because I mean there's just so much shit out there. You know what I'm saying? Planets and galaxies. There's just so much shit. Where did all that shit come from? You know what I mean?
It was one entity though.
Well, no, I believe there's an energy. I didn't grow up in a church, although I feel like I'm good, and I do tie to something, and I tie to something intangible. I do tie to something that I believe pushes me, forces me, and gives me that optimism and that belief to move forward.
Right.
Mandalay Bay.
I believe that exists, but I do believe that as far as people go, it's a whole lot of evolution there. So that's why I said that it was funny you said that. That's why I was trying to grasp my answer, because I believe there is a combination of two.
I do. That's not my position. Is that I don't believe it was just one thing. I think it was the combination of things that made things come to pass. And I one of the things that I say about Christians is that a lot of people, well, not just Christians, but a lot of people who are religious are arrogant to believe that there's only one way to get to the Creator, or one way to that level of high spirituality, or wherever you want to go. I mean, I don't know if I believe there's a heaven and a earth. I mean, a heaven and a hell, because hell, this is hell, right? Fuck, it's hot as motherfucker, right? Again, I don't know how I feel about those thoughts, but I do know that it's not just one way, and I do know that Jesus had peers in other areas, because I didn't just read the Bible. I know that Jesus had peers in other areas of the world that were preaching the same message, and there were mentions of him in their text and vice versa. So for me, I just don't think that it was just one thing. I'll just leave it at that. Somebody said, absolutely, talking about religion, it was for governing, especially during slavery. It was for governing long before slavery. The Bible, I don't know if you mean slavery in the modern day slavery, or slavery in terms of over in Africa, because they, with the Hebrews and all that. Anyway, the Bible is the book on the same level as The Little Engine That Could. It's the children's book of the fables that we've been misconstrued as fact.
Yep. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I'm with you.
Just
It's
to
a great
elaborate,
sure, it's a great read. It's a
yeah,
great read. But, I just think that there's something more to it.
and just to
It's
elaborate on what
missing.
the person said about slavery, they don't mean your slavery, our slavery, but
That's what I said.
anybody that was enslaved, because it is the book of hope. It is the book for depressed people to believe that they're supposed to push through this. So, any governing body that wants a population of people that they want to work like workhorses, and for them to think that their reward is in heaven once they're dead, you know what I'm saying? That they can live this life of whatever it is, sacrifice or whatever, then it is definitely a book for them, because it does preach that. It tells people that you can endure that and better days are coming. And I don't know why God would write that if we all were supposed to be the same and have the same chances of doing shit. He wouldn't
But
write.
God didn't write the Bible. Human
I know.
beings wrote the Bible. That's what
I know.
people understand.
That book
That's
book needs to have, it's missing something in its forward that should say this book is edited for content and allotment for time and reading, because it's so much shit missing out of that book that's been written and translated in I don't know how many different languages from so many different authors that are in there. And then my other problem with it is, you got, if there's this one God, and a one higher power, whoever one they call them, and then you got all these different religions. You got Catholics, you got Baptists, you got Apostolics, you got Kojics, you got all of that. Who's to say who's? And then you got them JWs. So
Well, here's the thing, and then we're gonna move on because we're not gonna turn the show into that. One thing about that is that most of all of what you were talking about, all the ones that you were talking about, believe the same thing. They all believe in God and Christ and Jesus. They all believe about that. They believe in the Holy Trinity. They believe in all of those things. It's just little different doctrines and little different ceremonies and rituals that are different. The whole common theme is that for them it still is that one same God. So I'll move on before we get stuck in that rabbit hole and can't get the hell out. I want out. Okay. That's what I get for bringing up creationism and Darwinism, right?
No, you brought it up.
I know. All right, so what about intuitionism, which is the belief that knowledge is gained through intuition, through your insight and your spiritual vision, and that transcendent higher power in reality?
Well, I mean, if there's a way for you to tap into that consistently, then okay. But I mean, I definitely believe in intuition. I know I felt some things that pop up real strong and say, hey, this is either real right or not real right. And whether you follow them or not, then it turns out, well, damn, I should have followed my first mind, because I knew that. I had the intuition, but it's so much inconsistency with that feeling. Sometimes it's just gas, that you feel. And it ain't necessarily intuition, because you be feeling it and you might throw some chips down on something and it ain't happening. So I think that it's a good thought. I from an idealism standpoint, if you can tap into it consistently, I just couldn't subscribe to that over something more sound, like rationalism or something, What was yours? Whatever you had earlier.
Pragmatism.
Yeah. See, I would lean more to something like that than intuitionism. Yeah. I just think it's too inconsistent.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think you can tap into it to the degree. I mean, if you can, then great. I don't know that I can. I can't sit here and argue the point that I can tap into my intuition consistently and accurately enough to make sound decisions. I'd be all over the place if I
Your
was
spidey senses, when your spidey senses, but here's the thing,
Tingle.
let me say this, and yes, I did just pull this out my bra. Don't judge me. I always got to be ready. Clean teeth. Ready. Anyway, here's the thing about intuitionism. Huh? It's the toothpick. It's the one of those dental floss picks.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing about intuitionism. We all, like I've said before on previous shows, we are all born with everything that we need. And that intuition is what guides us as children, right? And in a lot of ways, you know, all of the things that we are taught, we are actually untaught those things that are natural and innate to us. And so we have to learn again to tap into that thing that which already exists within us. And so we have to now block out the other noise, which is why meditation is so important, which is why it's important to block out that external white noise so that we can tap into that intuition, because it does always lead us where we need to go. Whenever we get off path, it's because we're listening to external sources and things, and that white noise, that doubt that people have instilled in us, that fear, you know, that you can't do that, or why would that work, or, you know, all of those things are things that people taught us. When we were kids, we were fearless. People taught us fear.
You don't know what don't work. My kids think they can make stuff that fly.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. They were taught, no, you can't do that, or no, that's not going to work. We know in our head that shit's going to work, and we're going to figure out a way to make it damn work. It's fearlessness. It's not that we don't know about. I look at how China jumps off at the edge of the bed toward me, and Samaya, and fearlessness. Just like they just know goddamn well I'm going to catch them. You know what I mean? They don't think for a second. They have no fear or anything. They completely trust. We lose that. And so we have to now reverse the effects of that. Because life damages us, and we allow other people to get into our heads and tell us shit that will not happen. You know, and you got to be careful. And that's something that I used to specialize in when I first became a coach, was subconscious reconditioning our subconscious to send us different signals, so that we can do different things. Our behavior can change based on those signals that are given to us. So, you got another one?
Yeah, I do. That was good. That was enlightening. I'm gonna have to get in touch with my intuitionism deal and unlearn some stuff. Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know if you be serious or you be making fun of me.
No, I'm serious. I'm saying it in a way that makes it all comical, because I don't want folks to think I'm getting all deep. But I'm about to deep. I'm about to get deep. I'm about to meditate and retrain and let go. Because if I could probably use some tapping into. Because I'm pretty sharp motherfucker. And if I could tap into some sharper shit, that might be all right. So anyway, euphemisms.
Euphemisms?
Yeah, why are we looking at that? So, euphemism, yeah. You know what it is.
I know, Robert, go ahead.
It's a euphemism. It's a little cute word that I say, you know, to get the point across, but not so harsh and not so mean, and, you know, because I know you're a little sensitive, so I'm going to use a euphemism to say it. Not you in particular, but that's the way it's for those of you that might want to get it twisted. That's what a euphemism is for. It's the way you approach soft-ass people. You know, you use words that don't hurt so much. Like you told Sporty to stop wearing her something on the outside earlier.
Yeah, I told her skin inside out. Stop wearing her skin inside out.
So you using some euphemisms, you might not have had to qualify yourself there. You might have just skirted them in. I think the only place for them is with children, and I don't think you need to even be so soft on kids, because, you know, people are too damn sensitive right now. I mean, You know, I'm gonna give you a real small story here, short story. I'm sorry. When I first came out to this town, I ended up stumbling and falling into this union, and I became a Teamster. And Teamsters was pretty hardcore, you know. I mean, they Teamsters, you know. They got a little image, you know, like Jimmy Hoffa and, you know, back on the docks, they Teamsters, you know. And I
Right.
mean, we had them all, ex-cons in there, Hell's Angels in there. I mean, living up to the standard of a Teamster, right? Now, man, I got motherfuckers, you can't yell at a motherfucker, and they gonna be whining. They want to turn you in for shit and talk to you about shit and get you in trouble for shit. All you did was tell them, quit fucking off. Oh, you was fucking off. If you was fucking off, you was fucking off. So now I can't even tell you to quit fucking off. I have to come with bells and whistles and some fucking euphemisms now for some people that are supposed to be hard-ass union workers. What kind of woosah, soft shit they training people down at the damn union hall? This is for 631 if y'all fucking watching soft.
Hey, such hostility.
No, they
I don't want
soft,
you to-
man. I was one of them for, I mean, I'm still one of them for most of them, but yeah, they soft, man. Quit teaching these motherfuckers all this emotional shit down there and teach them how to get the work done. I mean, euphemisms. They got no place, you know, with grown folks. No place for grown folks,
So,
man.
Rob, they say you hilarious in chat. He is hilarious. Yeah, I use euphemisms a lot. Not to soften the blow. I'm pretty blunt and to the point. I use them for humor.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna call that sarcasm, but
Sarcasm.
if you taking a shot at somebody, you ain't a euphemism. It ain't a euphemism. You know, it's more witticism or something. You know.
They're agreeing with you in chat, Rob. They're saying, amen, Rob. Yes, Rob. This is why everybody gets the trophy. I don't think that,
That's right. Everybody don't deserve a trophy. Some people deserve to go home with the lesson that I need to fucking practice harder. That's what it is. See, here's another one. Here's another one to take this home. Take this home. Take this home. You don't fail. You learn. If you do something and you didn't win, you learn. You learn that you wasn't prepared to win.
or
whatever that means.
good enough
That
right
may mean
now.
that I didn't train hard enough. That may mean that I didn't do something different. But all you did was you learned that you weren't ready to win. And then you go fucking do what it takes to win. Quit giving these motherfuckers trophies. That's they went to the same class as these Teamsters.
Let me tell you something. Bernie taught me this. Not that I didn't know it already, but this is sometimes when you win, you lose, and sometimes when you lose, you win.
You frozen. So I'm gonna keep shaking my head because I'm assuming she's still talking. Okay, now we good. Now we good. Okay. All right.
Did you hear what I said? Sometimes when you win, you lose, and sometimes when you lose, you win.
I get it.
And most people need to pay very close attention to that because the best lessons you learn are in the loss.
Yeah, that's where you learn. That is where you learn. I hate to lose. I am the sorest loser in the world. And sore as it can be. I lose so sore, I be mad. I'm the one that wanted to take his fucking basketball if you lost the game. That was me. But I didn't take it. I wasn't a brat. I wasn't a little bitch. I took it. I took that emotion and it drove me to get better. Because if you hate to lose, then go win, motherfucker. Do what it takes to win.
You know, I do shit like flip in a simple game of Taboo. I was playing Taboo. I never forget this. I was at Jamie's house and we was playing Taboo. We used to do stupid stuff like that. We would sit around the table in the kitchen and we would play Taboo. And it was this, we had broken off into teams. And I was like, look, first of all, this is my disclaimer. I don't like to lose. So if you're not smart, don't get on my team. Period. And so we was playing Taboo. This girl was so damn dumb. She made a pet rock look like a rocket scientist. And I let her have it. So much so that she was crying. And to this day, they be like, dude, like how you gonna make the girl cry playing Taboo? Bitch, well, why you here? It's all for fun. No, bitch, I already said this wasn't for fun.
Right.
You cannot lose with Johnny Mac and Jamie.
Yeah.
They will never let you live it down. No, you go have fun someplace else. Goddamn it, this is for your damn reputation.
Right. The fun is in the winning. It ain't just for fun.
Right.
Fun.
The lesson is in the loss. The fun is in the win.
Yeah. No, I get it. A lot of people that want to play shit with me because they knew I was going there. You know. I mean, I get it.
But I learned that the hard way. My daddy, was teaching me how to play Crazy Eights, and he was whooping my ass. He was teaching me how to play Tunk and Thump and all that shit, and he would whoop my ass. And I'm like, you ain't gonna let me win? He's like, no. Like, they gonna let you win?
Yeah, my mom did the same thing. No way she would let you win.
He was like, life ain't gonna let you win, so I'm not gonna let you win. You have to earn it.
And my mama took, one day I bet her, and she took my $2. My allowance, my $2 fucking dollars. $2. That shit was like $1 million back then. She took my $2 and did not give it back. Didn't say, she didn't say, no, I know you. No, she took it. So that's how.
You lost it.
You lost, exactly. I lost it, and she took it.
But guess what you learned? You learned either not to bet her ass, or that you better come with your A game when you do.
When you do, yeah. And that's what we ain't teaching our kids. We teaching them to be soft. Yep. I don't fucking deal with that. Asia wanted to do this Rubik's Cube, and she was crying. She couldn't figure it out. I'm like, you better figure it out. You gonna figure it out. You better go to the internet and look. Now, I posted some shit. She did this motherfucking cube in 2 minutes on the Facebook. If y'all got Facebook, check my Facebook. She did it in 2 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? Unless she wanted to. Yeah. So you just gotta push your kids. Don't be scared to push your kids. They can do way more than you think they can.
That's what I was saying. That fear, all that shit, that's doubt and shit that we teach them.
Teach them all the time, yeah. And yeah, don't be scared of shit too. I want to just throw this in on a parental note. Don't be scared of shit in front of your kids. Bugs and shit jumping up fucking on the table because of a spider. Now your kid's gonna be scared of a goddamn spider. I be telling the kid,
I'm just gonna say this for the record. If a mouse come, I'm out. I don't give a fuck.
You just try to be calm.
I don't do rodents. I'm sorry. Speaking of that, let's talk about it's time for our Ask PDA letter.
Okay, let's answer some stuff off the thing. What you got?
You crazy as hell. All right, let's go ahead and play this disclaimer, get that part out the way, and then we can go to the letter.
At some point, you will be offended by something said on our show, but playing devil's advocate is meant to be a forum for open, honest, and more importantly, judgment-free dialogue. The opinions expressed here may not necessarily be those of our hosts or the show in general, but we're willing to have the uncomfortable conversation so that we can heal and find solutions for our listeners and quite possibly ourselves. Enjoy the rest of the show.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
All right, today's Ask PDA letter is being brought to you by our producer's drink of the week. If you have not had an opportunity to check out Common Sense, kill yourself. No, make sure you go to facebook.com/playing devil's advocate. Click the link, click the link, try the drink, and let Cousin Chan know what you think. I just threw that in there just for kind of mixing it up for you guys, just to see if you were paying attention. The look on your face, Rob, was priceless. Like, kill yourself. Again, facebook.com/playing devil's advocate. Try out our producer Cousin Chan's Common Sense. All right, here's the letter, Rob. Dear PDA, my husband has a best friend who's married to a woman I dislike more every time I see her. She makes nasty remarks about my husband in front of me. Frankly, I don't understand why, because he's made a wonderful life for our family. Among other things, she calls him a male chauvinist. It happens almost every time we talk. But he doesn't seem to mind, but I do. They bring their large family to stay with us once a year for a week without my permission, but with his permission, because he's always happy to oblige. She says that she just loves our home and assumes that she's always welcome. Sometimes I think they stay here not so much because they want to spend time with us, but to avoid paying for a hotel. By the way, I haven't exactly made it pleasant for them either. Sometimes I don't change the linen in the guest room. I've even talked to my husband about their staying for so long, but he seems to think it's fun to have them stay the whole 7 days. PDA fam, what's a wife to do? Signed, had it up to here. I'll let you take it first, Rob.
All right, so had it up to here. I got a few questions now. I'm going to go back. That's the husbands are friends, right?
Yes.
The husbands are friends. I'm assuming long time, like best buddy friends, because that's only people who come to your house like for a week on a regular basis. First of all, you got a couple things twisted, because I'm just going to associate it with like my best friend Derek and our families. We generally don't stay at each other's houses if we have the whole family, but I could see that if you can accommodate it, I could see how that could work there. But it's him and his boy. It ain't really about you or the wife or the other girl. And it ain't about that. It's about him and it's about them two staying in touch, making sure their families meet and know each other, and they spend that week together. Now, if they've decided that the house is the place, I mean, you've already made it a little uncomfortable. That's not stopping them. You made some statements that I really don't get. I think you just taken that, you know, they be here and even not in a hotel and available when she wants it. They come once a year, you know what I'm saying, for a week, you know. I mean, that's your husband. I mean, if he's not offended because he values his relationship with his boy more than what she's saying, then you might need to just value your relationship with your husband more than what she's saying. But, I mean, if it's 1 year, 1 week out of a year, I say suck it up. It ain't like they coming and just intruding on you whenever. And if you want to stay in a hotel, start suggesting that y'all rent some kind of shit and go somewhere else out of your house. But I would stay out of that because that's him and his boy, and they doing their thing, you know. And I mean, I might be a little partial because I just lost one of my boys, but that's yeah, it's just him and his boy.
Okay. All right, so here's my take on this. Had it up to here. First of all, you don't like this friend's wife. She makes nasty remarks about your husband in front of you. Why are you sitting there letting her do it? You should have checked her on that first day. And I'm not saying do it in a mean and rude way, but there's a way to put somebody in their place without being rude. She does it because she can, right? And it's allowed. And the fact that, you know, you said that your husband doesn't mind, clearly it's not a big deal. Clearly they have a pre-existing situation, meaning them being married. I don't know if those two were married before you and your husband got married, so he had the opportunity to know both of them more than you did. You know what I mean? I don't know if that was the case. I don't know if it was just that, you know, oh, these are the best friends and now you guys are being forced together. Regardless of the fact, what I do find problematic is that your husband is making the decision to allow an entire family to come live with y'all for a week and not consult you.
She knew that.
And then when you say something, he's like, oh, well, I think it's fun. Yeah, I'm not. I don't. So can we cut it down? Is there some compromise somewhere in the middle? This has nothing to do with them more than it has to do with your relationship, your communication between you and your husband. Because clearly y'all off making decisions on your own for whatever reason. You know, and if it's one of those situations where Rob is like, oh, it's just about the guys, well, then the guys need to have guys' weekend. But to have everybody all in the house and clearly your wife is not comfortable, then you got to kind of respect her as well because it's y'all's house, not his. And, you know, the boy's crib and you just coming, you know what I mean? It's not like this your girlfriend and she just happened to be living with you and this is your boy's coming. This is your wife, y'all's home. So y'all need to make some decisions together in terms of making that work a little bit better for everybody involved. Now, the flip side to that, The devil in me, the little one that sits on my shoulder, she said, this girl is a little bit more familiar with your husband than you would like to know. Because she's saying derogatory things about your husband. She chopping it up, laughing and giggling. Oh, I love your home. She feel like she'd come to it whenever she feel like it. Yeah, your husband done smashed that. I'm just letting you know. This person is letting you know. That's your husband done smashed that.
And that's why she got the problem, because she's feeling that.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Let's listen. You know, that was the clinical.
But she really didn't say nothing about. She really didn't say nothing about the husband or the kid.
She don't have a problem with the husband. She don't have a problem with the best friend. The problem is with this chick.
Yeah.
So the reason why I gave the answer that I gave the first time is that's for any other situation where somebody is having an issue where their spouse is making decisions and not consulting them, and it's affecting them in their home. That's a communication issue. But your problem is with this chick. It's not with the husband. It's not with her husband. It's with her. You feel something else, and your feeling is probably right.
So here's the thing.
Intuitionism?
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Trey Rob.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, because I've been in that situation. And that's probably true, because they do tend to say shit even though they know that it's nothing still there. They tend to make these fucking comments that already, I had that, trust me. So she's probably right there. Listen to that. But then you just need to check that then. You need to realize that, you know, it's no threat, but you need to get her in line so that if she's going to be around, she understands what the fuck the deal is. You know what I'm saying? She ain't a threat, so don't position it like that. But you can also let her know. I mean, you ain't got to be sending me messages and signals. I know what's up, motherfucker, and check her. However you think you need to check her, without decking her.
Yeah.
You know,
and without causing friction between the husband,
exactly.
Because they're friends. Clearly, it's his best friend. You said it's his best friend. Clearly, you don't have a problem with him. You don't want to do it in a manner where it's going to cause friction, and they feel like, oh, there's gonna be. You don't want to do that. Y'all handle this woman, and you can let her know. Look, we're not gonna do that. Dead that. You know what I mean? You're not gonna disrespect my husband in my house. That's not what we're about to do.
Right.
If it's a joke, you're not funny. And anyway. Right. So anyway, like I said, you got some intuitionism that you need to be tapping into. And it's just a matter on how you handle it. They talk about, damn, y'all. They need a poem. I don't know where Sporty went. Can't give you a poem. I ain't doing no roses of red, violets of blue.
I can't do that either. But what I can say, and it's not gonna be a poem because I ain't gonna freestyle, but just let her know that whatever she's thinking, whatever's derogatory, whatever ain't good with the man, that's how she remembers it. But it ain't like that no more. I can tell you. He putting it down, or whatever the case is. That'll put her ass in a place.
Now you
just let them know.
That's how. Again, Rob, you starting shit again. Don't be feeding her her lies. She got to come up with it herself, man. You just said however she needs to handle it so she don't deck her. That's a fight ready to happen. You the little producer on the reality show off in the corner feeding shit so they can say fucked up shit getting it started. Don't do that.
It don't have to be a fight just because it ain't, you can just tell her that. That's how you remember it. But that ain't how it is now.
You're an instigator. I can't let you go. You can't do it.
She thinking she know what you got.
She does. But she don't know. She knows how you have what you got until to a certain extent.
Right.
To a certain point.
Allow you to know is evolution has taken place.
I'll be tying it all together. See, for those of you guys who just may be joining in, you're not getting these jokes because you came in late. You're going to have to go back to the beginning and watch it from the beginning so it can all make sense.
It all makes sense.
It can all make sense to you. But definitely, it's some evolution. He evolved. His game evolved.
Yeah, he evolved into some, hedonism and all kinds of isms.
Definitely hedonism. He upped his hedonistic. But
But go ahead. You can remember him your way. I know fond memories. And then just walk out the room. That's what you do.
I'm telling you, stop feeding her lines. You're going to start a fight. It's going to be some friction if you handle it your way, Rob. I'm just telling
you. It's in her house. It's her house. She know where all the weapons is in her house.
Clearly, it's not. This bitch come trace.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Anyway.
So, anywho, with that,
let's in the chats. Let's do some chats real quick.
They said, I need a poem. They saying, damn, y'all, true that. They talk about we tag team. No. They're talking about losing to your parents playing games and stuff, and Wes said that his dad did the same thing to him in Monopoly. I don't even want to talk about Monopoly. I have a burn on the back of my arm from a Monopoly game gone bad with my brother because he's the best and the worst. Meaning he's the best at it, he's really good at it, but he's the worst winner because he's one of those braggers and rub your face in it kind of people. He one of them. And that just irritates you even more when you're a bad loser. So, anyway. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we had this show about the isms because we wanted you guys to let you know. Like at the beginning of the show, I gave you guys the history of isms, when they were first used and what was the purpose for it. It was originally a derogatory lump in things that were not part of conventional thought and conventional wisdom and societal norms. And that's one of the things I buck up against in my life on a regular basis. I challenge conventional thought all the time. I challenge the norm all the time. Not just for the sake of doing it, but I want people to ask themselves why they're doing what they're doing. Are they doing it just because they were spoon-fed it and that's all they know and they regurgitating what they heard? Or have they gone on their own self-journey to find out why they believe what they believe and why their behavior is dictated by those thoughts and belief systems? So that is something that I want you guys to do on a regular basis. Challenge the conventional norm. Challenge the conventional thought, and that way you can decide, you know what, that's why we respectfully agree to disagree on this show. I might not agree with Rob, but I can respect his opinion, and I know how to deal with him based on the way he thinks and the way he believes, his belief system. I don't judge him on it. And I don't, it's not my place to do. And that's what we were talking about when we were talking about moralism, and we were talking about fundamentalism, and we were talking about atheism and agnosticism is, agnosticism. We were talking about all of those things because we want people to understand that, be very clear that anything, any belief, any thought that you believe in, any ideology, any doctrine, can be positive, have a positive and a negative effect. And it's up to you to decide how to proceed in the wake of that. So be careful, be mindful, and like Rob said, it's always going to get better. And if it doesn't get better, then it's not over.
Yeah. that was paraphrased like a motherfucker, but yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's it.
Of course, I'm going to paraphrase them. Yeah, but those are great words. Those are great nuggets to live by. You want to drop a nugget on them before we get out of here, Rob? We got about a minute and a half.
No, we said it all. I mean, unless you just want me to repeat that the way it's supposed to be said, but it's all good.
Please do. I don't want to misquote you.
It's all going to be okay. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end. It's just that simple.
But it's the end of this show, and it's just that simple. With that being said, on behalf of our producer, Cousin Chan, our incredible invisible intern, number 3, Sporty Spunky Angel, the Rob Carter, and me, KiKi Richardson, the consummate provocateur, we'd like to say thank you for joining us for another great show, and we'll see you guys next week, same bad time, same bad channel. And remember, share the stream. Sharing is caring. Remember, we're always uncensored, unscripted, unapologetic. Until next time, let's go. I would say Google us, bitches, but why? You already on YouTube. All right. See you guys later.